Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and I promise Caleb's only giggling because of what Kurt did off camera, not because of anything he may have ate or ingested. You don't do that, right?
No, I would never.
We are good people around here. But we do have a topic we want to talk about, so it's going to be a little bit of a rant before you hear me rant. And this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Make sure to click like, subscribe, and go check out Patreon. Get you a free membership if you want. Hells, bells, depending on how we're feeling, we might do something fun on Patreon today. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. So recently you brought to my attention, I haven't had a chance to watch it because it just pissed me off, a video that came out. And it's got a guy I have a lot of respect for over the years. And that would be Tom Crutchfield. And he's talking about how we should... What was his wording exactly on that? I don't want to get it wrong. You watch the thing. Just ballpark it.
Something along the lines of, free handlers get a lot of bad rap. And we should
love and nurture them, or
be kinder about how we treat them.
So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And on one aspect, I don't disagree with Tom. And I'll explain what I mean, okay? But I have a very hard time with some of the things people do on camera simply to generate clicks and simply to generate views. I got to start by saying I don't care if somebody free handles snakes. As a matter of fact, I've free handled venomous snakes. I have. Many times. More times than I care to admit. It's not something I do on camera frequently. It's not something that I'm going to make a big show of. It's definitely not something I'm ever going to do on camera with a dramatized thumbnail and a bunch of drama and blood squirting out of my hand and whatever else I can do to generate clicks. That behavior is done for one reason. What reason is that done for?
Money.
And everybody's got to make their bank, right? I get it. I don't live on nothing. So, but my issue is this: when you keep venomous snakes, when you keep any snake, okay? I want you just to think about that in terms of any snake. You keep an exotic animal. We have, and it's even more so in venomous snakes and large constrictors, okay? Large constrictor people, you guys are going to understand what I'm saying a lot more than everybody that just has ball pythons. I got a lot of ball pythons, but it just hasn't hit home for ball python keepers the same way it's hit home for large constrictor keepers, and the same way it's hit home for venomous keepers, and the same way it's hit home for other exotic species keepers. But in this new world we live in, where everything we do is on social media, right? We are just giving ammo, to those who don't think we should have these animals. That's my issue with it. My issue is when we show things like that and we promote things like that, we are teaching two things. One, we're giving the ammunition to not just the PETA people. I don't give a shit about the PETA people. PETA people can eat my ass. I don't really care about them. This isn't about them. Okay, they're going to do what they do anyway, and they're all... they're whatever. I'm going to stop before I say a bunch of crap that Kurt makes me have to edit out. So we won't do that. But this isn't about the PETA people. This is simply about that time when a snake gets out, something happens, and it's going to happen. And you say, well, how will it happen? Look, man, you can just go back through news stories over the last 7-8 years, and it's happened. Cobras escaped, bit a guy committed suicide by a cobra. That was a big story. There was another one that was on the loose. There was a guy that got bit in the face trying to kiss a cottonmouth. Remember that one? That dude looked like Fat Albert, man. He was all swollen up and bruised so bad. It was terrible looking. I mean, his face was, oh, Jesus. There was also the guy that recently got bit, I know, by the gaboon viper. That was his pet. And he went to pick it up by hand and said, I do it all the time through all 3 of his teeth. Never do meth and play with snakes. Bad idea. There are all these things that happen that become news stories. And when that happens, and somebody gets a bright idea, Carol Baskin, to go to Congress, okay, and try to say, hey, these animals don't belong in the hands of private keepers. Here is a plethora of information why. Look at this moron who's got missing 2 fingers because he free handles snakes all the time, and he lives in your neighborhood with your children 5 miles from your school. look at this guy, look at this dude, look at this guy. All they'd have to show is half the thumbnails, and Jesus, we'd be sunk. We'd be sunk. So that's my issue. It's not the act. I don't care about the act. Last time I checked, it's a free country, ish. And with that, I honestly believe if what you're doing doesn't affect me, you should have every right to do it. Every right. That goes with whether you're free handling, whether you're owning guns, whether, you want to wear women's clothing and you're a dude, whether whoever you want to sleep with. I don't give a shit because it doesn't affect me. So I have no reason, whether I care about it or not, to complain about something that doesn't affect me. And it's the same with free handling. But when you put that out there in that way, and you're going to cause me to lose my rights, now it does affect me. And now I do have something to say about that. We've seen this play out recently in our history, right?
Yeah.
How much harder is it now to get an exotic large cat? I'm talking beyond the serval size, like tiger, mountain lion.
Difficult. I mean,
yeah,
it's much more difficult than what it used to be.
And it wasn't difficult before in a lot of places.
No.
There are some places you could just go buy one.
Yeah.
Kind of like there are places you could just go buy a venomous snake.
Yeah.
It's real similar, right?
It was.
And just like there's some municipalities where you can't do that at all. There was that way too. Mm-hmm. Some states had different rules. But in certain states, you could just go down the street to your local reptile expo, lay down your money, and take home a cobra if you wanted to. Still can. Right now, right?
Yeah.
And you could have done that before with a tiger at your local exotic animal auction. Those are a thing. They actually carry kangaroos close to me on occasion, and zebras, and z-donks. And whatever else Kurt tells me about, because he likes to go to that just to watch the crazy show go by and buy weird exotic chickens. Kurt's a little strange. He's kind of a chicken guy. Nothing wrong with chicken guys. They make eggs. So anyway, am I right? You could do that not that long ago.
Yeah.
You can't now. Why? Why can't we do that now, Caleb? Why is it?
Because there was that dumb TV show during COVID that everyone watched.
So we all sat around, we all watched Tiger King, right?
Yeah.
And that show showed a guy by the name of, what was his name again?
Joe Exotic, or Joe Maldonado.
There was Maldonado, there was Exotic, there was Passage, wasn't there another name? I can't remember all of his names.
Yeah.
He have many names.
Yeah.
And he was, he was a larger-than-life character anyway, because he's just an odd duck. Out of the Midwest, born in Kansas, in Oklahoma at the time of the filming. And it was this whole story with this whole supposed murder thing that just never happened. The murder never happened. It was a murder for hire. It didn't work out. And I'm not getting into whether he's innocent or guilty or not, because that's not the point. But the point is, the person he was trying to kill was somebody we all affectionately know by meme as that bitch Carol Baskin. And that's just been the meme name for her.
Absolutely.
For years and years and years and years before that show came out, she would go to Congress in her cat print suit and talk about why they need to just pass these rules to stop private owners from having cats. And Congress would chuckle, they'd listen to her, they would pat her on the head, and then somebody would bring in a cat for them to all pet and pass around, and then that would go away. Then 2 or 3 years later, we'd try again, and this whole show would repeat. Oh, but then Tiger King happens. And then everybody sees all the crazy shit, right? And they think now that every single person keeping a big cat is a gay cowboy in Oklahoma carrying 2 guns with a whole crew of people who look like they've been doing meth for 10 years, getting Walmart food, feeding them in their trailers full of rats. That's now the people that have tigers. Is that the true image? You know more people with tigers than I've known, right?
No.
That's not the image?
No.
But that's the image that we were taught.
I know.
Right?
Yeah. I know more private keepers who are normal and keep tigers better than I know zoos that keep tigers.
Wait a minute. They don't all have Shaq hanging out there on occasion?
No.
Wait a minute.
No, not all of them, but I do know a few who've actually had Shaq come out to them.
That's because Shaq likes tigers. Shaq's a
Shaq
cool dude.
does.
I like tigers too. Me and Shaq share that. We don't share the height. I'm 6'2", he's 7'2". And big. And I don't want to make fun of Shaq because that dude can whoop my ass. But anyway, but even back beyond this, so they have Shaq come in maybe, but not like that. Right. So do they get Walmart food trucks for people working for them?
not for people working for them, but a lot of zoos actually do get
Yeah, it's great animal food.
food for the animals. Like, if it's the day before the expiration on like your fruits and veggies and stuff like that, they will donate. So not for the employees, but for the animals as donations, they do. And we sit there and we called it sort day, and we would sort. Oh, this looks like it's gonna go bad, so we either use it today or not at all, and just toss it, or
But you
use it.
weren't taking it back and cooking it up, right?
No,
for yourself.
That was actually strictly against the rules.
What? Let's see. What else was some crazy stuff we saw in Tiger King we don't see in the real world?
I mean, we're not sticking our hands in cages to lose our arm. No offense to that keeper at all. Like, that's not a shot at them.
Yeah. But it happened.
It happened.
Happened while they were opening public.
I don't want to say it doesn't happen in zoos. Not to that extreme. Most of the time when you see dismembered zookeepers from tigers, it's a finger or something like that, not a whole arm.
If you push your meat through... Okay, let me rephrase that. That was
Wow.
That sounded really dirty. If you're pushing some meat through the fence for the tiger, keep your hand flat.
Yep.
If you do it like this, and these go in, they can't tell the difference. Okay?
It's not even intentional. They can't tell the
Yeah.
difference.
Keep your hand flat.
Yep.
Yeah. Keep your hand flat. So there's that aspect. There's just a lot of things. They're also not all filming crazy YouTube videos about what they should do and who they should kill.
Like sending a rattlesnake in the mail.
What? They don't all do that?
No.
They don't all fly over in a helicopter?
Oh my God, no.
They don't all do crazy stuff like that?
Nope.
So if we would have taken one of those private keepers that who does a good job, okay?
Yeah.
And that person would have been the face for that community.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that would be the person that would have been the image that Congress has seen.
Oh, that law would have never passed.
That's my point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when we get the image of the crazy guy carrying two guns who thinks everybody's
what?
out. Oh, don't forget.
I'll even match that. I know specifically. I won't name drop them, but I know two people who just started up their own zoo, who are gay, who are cowboys, who do have guns. They just got approved for adoption to adopt a kid, so they are not out there doing crazy.
I do need to be clear. I'm not saying that all gay people.
No.
Cowboys
What I'm saying is, like,
listen, if you want to be a gun-owning gay cowboy, that's fine. Just don't act like the Tiger King.
Part of Tiger King's gimmick, you can call it, or whatever on Netflix to centralize everything was centralized. His, how he was with guns, how his image, his relationships, everything was blown way out of what was normally probably normal around there to make good TV.
Oh, wait a minute. We're on to something. So what did it become more about? Did it become more about keeping the tigers and doing that right? Or was it more about
the money?
I need to have governor pins and condoms to give away as governor candidate that says I'll protect you?
Absolutely.
It was more self-promotion, right?
Yeah.
So because of the growth of the TV and the social media and then the show, it was more self-promotion than it was about the animals.
Yeah. And again, I'm not going to say whether he's guilty or not. That's not what we're here to do. But
neither.
I also think some of that is probably out of his control too. I know if you watch a lot of reality TV shows, when there'll be interviews afterwards and people saying, hey, like, yeah, this looks super crazy, but that was more editing. Or, I know a lot of shows like Duck Dynasty was one of them where they didn't want to continue their show anymore because they were trying to script more and more stuff and make things more and more extreme when it really wasn't. So,
I can tell you from personal experience, too, we're not a huge social media channel, but we had our moment. We had a lot more views than we do now. And there is something somewhat intoxicating about getting those views and being a known entity. It is nice. It is fun. It does feel good to go somewhere people know your name. That is not a lie. Okay? And it is hard when that's going on to keep yourself grounded.
Yeah.
It is hard. It is hard to keep yourself humble in the fact that a lot of it's just pure blind ass luck, right? And and just be happy it happened and not feel like you're something special. Yeah. And I don't think he did a good job of that. And my problem in the venomous free handling community now is it's the same thing. It's not the act of free handling. I do not care if you choose to free handle. As a matter of fact, I support you if you choose to free handle it. It's your choice to make. Now, you got to be okay with the consequences of said choice. I know I've had to have that conversation with myself, and sometimes that risk is worth the reward for me. It isn't for everybody. And I'm not going to encourage you to do it or tell you you should. But when you are doing it for the self-promotion, not the promotion of the animals, and not the promotion of safekeeping, when you're more worried about how's this film look and how's this going to do and how many views am I going to get by playing with this cobra free handling and all of this, I think at that point you've lost your way. Yeah. And I think at that point is when you're detrimental for venomous keepers. And all it takes is one fucking Tiger King version of the snake, people, and we'll lose our rights.
And it's not even just YouTube that you have to worry of that. I remember, I think it was 2014, because I was still in high school, there was that show, that documentary, whatever you want to call it, not really a documentary, with scientists called, what was it called? Basically, he was going to try and go into the wild.
Oh, and get eaten by the anaconda.
Get eaten by an anaconda. Eaten alive.
That was
That's
so stupid.
Yeah, and they had to pretty much, not really cancel it, but they couldn't find an anaconda that actually wanted to eat him. Shocker.
Yeah, because we're not their normal.
Yeah, and I know other documentaries where they were scientists trying to fill a void when Steve Irwin passed, and their documentaries, his style documentary series, and they had to cancel episodes because they couldn't get the animals to react any way other than just a normal, calm animal. Relax.
Let's talk about Steve Irwin really quick. First, got to say, God rest Steve Irwin, right? I want to point out the difference, okay? Yeah. Now, Steve Irwin, I saw him free handle a few things from the wild. Usually like this, right? And then sometimes the tick is a hook. That's the Steve Irwin pose, right? Love that man.
Absolutely.
Now, he got clicks for back then.
He did.
Right?
Yeah.
But did you ever watch that and feel like Steve Irwin was self-promoting Steve Irwin? Or was he actually promoting the animal?
Promoting the animals. And I think the biggest difference is every year you watched him, nothing changed.
That's right.
As he got more popular, nothing changed. And you can find archived footage from before he was even... Because he used to come over to the U.S. and train people in Arizona.
Right.
Because they'd have rattlesnakes and other venomous on base. And you can find footage of that, and nothing changed. This was back before, he was in charge of the zoo, back before any of his TV shows or anything were big hits. Nothing changed. He was the same man from being a child. There's probably footage out there of him being a child doing the exact same thing. And so that's where it's different. Nothing changed. He was the same person through and through, and it wasn't for the money. He was doing that because that was how he knew how to get people to love animals.
You could tell. And then Steve Irwin screwed some shit up. I'll never forget the time he wore some normal sunglasses, got cobra spit in his face, But it wasn't done on purpose, and it was rinsed out, and he talked a lot about, a lot of things. And, usually when he was doing something, if he didn't have an animal secured, he'd explain why it even worked if you listened to him. The cobra's going to focus on motion, so I'll only have my bag over here like this, I can be here. Things of that nature. It wasn't to sensationalize, look at me, I'm Steve Irwin, look what I can do.
Yeah. One of the probably biggest one that sticks out to me is when he was on Australian national TV doing an education bit for a news, which you see very common in the U.S. as well. And he has, I believe it's a water python around his shoulders. And he literally was just saying, it's not afraid of me, so it's not going to bite. And then it bites him. But he doesn't go, oh my God, and make like a big scene and dramatize it for TV. He waits until it's a settled down moment and everyone's done their thing. And he said, can you zoom the camera in just so I can get a good angle so I can get it to bite me? Or let go. It wasn't like this big deal. He didn't have to replay it in slow-mo 14 times and screenshot part of it and put it as their thumbnail.
And even Steve Irwin drew criticism.
Yeah.
Now, I remember very bluntly when I can't remember which child it was young, and he was out there holding the baby, feeding the crocs,
Yeah.
But that's also how Steve Irwin was raised. It'd be like, it's normal for him, and even he drew a lot of criticism. But, it was more about the passion of the animals. Mm-hmm. Do you know if Steve Irwin was ever bit by a venomous snake?
I I honestly, I don't know that.
Me neither.
I try and remember. I thought there was, but I know there was a guy who dressed a lot like Steve and grew his hair a lot like Steve who did. And I
Steve
sometimes
wannabe?
get them swapped around. So I don't know if he has or not. I thought he had, but I don't want to say that for sure.
But here's my point I'm making. You're having to think about it.
Yeah.
All these other dudes who want to do it for the...
Oh, yeah.
You know which ones have been bit because they're going to tell you 5 times.
Yeah.
They're going to promote it. We're going to give not always the best advice. Like I still will tell you time and time again, you can never, ever, ever, ever take 2 fingers and squeeze something to make it a tourniquet. You were a volunteer firefighter trained as an EMT, right?
Yeah.
Is that a fucking tourniquet?
No.
No. Tourniquets must stop blood flow.
Yeah.
Case in point, if you see a video of somebody doing this for a long time and their finger isn't changing color more than mine, that's because the blood's still going there. It ain't a tourniquet. I've applied tourniquets. It's going to turn the color.
A properly applied tourniquet should cut off blood circulation that you fear you're going to lose your limb.
Yes.
And the reason that is because you may. And that is because it is more important to potentially lose your limb than lose your life.
Yep. And
that is why when your limbs change color, they taught us especially in first aid, they taught us, if your limb starts to change colors, that does not mean relieve pressure.
No.
That means keep it, you did it right. You did a good job.
That's right. So I guess the point I'm trying to make in all of this is I'm not against free handling. I'm against not sensualization. That's a whole different thing, and we're not against that. I'm against sensationalism.
Yeah.
Sensationalism? I can't even, that's too many S's. I'm against the self-promotion for the simple fact of making money off dramatizing and over-dramatizing what a venomous snake is. Because you will cost us our rights when you do that. Eventually. You eventually will. If you want to educate and you want to make videos and you want to do that, man, that's great. And I do support that. But I do not support you also had a niece recently. I'm just give her age, not her name. How old is she?
She is 7.
7-year-old little girl, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And what did she tell you the other day? You have to drop the name of the person.
So I went home, and she's always excited to tell me about what animal thing she saw on YouTube. Animals are our thing together. And she watched on YouTube video where a cobra escaped an enclosure and they were tearing apart their house trying to find it, and she thought that was really, really cool. And I'm glad she enjoys watching reptile videos.
Yeah.
But that is a perfect example of someone uneducated in what is right and wrong when it comes to venomous, and thinking something is cool, now I want to be like them.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Not good. That's the point we're making right here. So, do you think it's wrong to free handle snakes, or do we agree with?
No, I think, and even in some cases, you have to.
Yeah. Do you agree with Tom? We should free handlers can be okay.
Yeah,
I do too. But or do you agree with Tom that we should accept this over? I'm not sure that's what he's trying to say, but that's how it's kind of coming out, right? That these type of videos we shouldn't speak out against as keepers. But I think we should.
I think we should.
Because that's with all due respect to Tom. And
yeah,
I just disagree with him on this.
Yep.
He didn't have to worry about losing his rights. He's like 847 years old. By the time the rights are gone, Tom's going to be dead, but I won't be.
Yep. And if you think that they'll do it all in one day, they won't. Tigers, they didn't do it in one day.
No.
2012, they banned, because I was working at Technique at the time, which allowed at the time when I first started working, you were able to pet baby big cats under a certain weight. And then all of a sudden, you couldn't. And we fought for years to the point where there was no fighting it. So, and then now we're to the point where it's, I don't want to say impossible or extremely difficult, but it's pretty difficult to get that the permitting system or everything you need to do, depending on wherever you live or whatever, to be able to keep a tiger. And that will be the same way with reptiles. They will start off with something like, well, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense to most people, not everyone, because let's be honest, a tiger at 15 pounds is not going to do anything to you unless you're being dumb, right? So they'll do something like
115-pound tiger, though. Yeah.
Say something like, you can't have whatever. let's just say spitting cobras, because those tend to be a little bit more dangerous because they can not only bite you, but they can spit it at you, right? There seems to be, or you get allergic to their venom. So there's a lot of issues there. And 75% of the people would be okay with it because they'll be like, yeah, it makes kind of sense. And then, you give an inch, you give a mile. Next thing you know, all the lapids are gone. And then they sit on that for a little while till all that kind of cools over, and then anything venomous non-native is gone.
Yep.
And they sit on that a little while, and they're like, you know what? All venomous are gone.
Damn right.
And they sit on that, and they say, now rear fang, non-medically significant. And so we just got to be careful.
Early on in this video, we talked about as that bitch Carol Baskin would go to Congress and complain about people having big cats. One of the things that would prevent that is somebody would bring a cub in.
Yeah.
And there's videos of Congress all petting the cub and smiling and having such a good time. And I'm not saying that's the right behavior. I'm just saying that's what happened. Well, I guarantee you, if somebody goes with the right footage and says, hey, we shouldn't have king cobras anymore in private possession, and somebody shows up to Congress with a king cobra, it is not going to have the same effect as a tiger cub.
No.
Right?
They have the opposite effect.
Yeah, we're fucked. Don't do that. But the other point with all that is this isn't a cute, cuddly animal, according to most people. So it's going to be easier to take away than cats were. They just need an excuse. And nobody... And you may say, well, they do that. I'll never vote for them. You're right. I'll never vote for them either. I'm one vote. There will be 10 little old ladies who go, oh, I'm going to vote for that senator because he kept me safe from them snakes and the Bible says they're evil. And they'll vote for him. So it's not even going to cost them votes. It's probably going to help them get votes. Yep. So we're already fighting an uphill battle. We should not do dumb shit to hurt ourselves. That's my biggest complaint.
Yep.
That's it. That is it. Whew. Okay, Kearney, you want to add? Caleb, anything else?
Nope.
All right, guys, that's kind of it in a nutshell. If you want a free handle, by all means, free handle. I do not care. But do not make videos that will hurt our ability to keep reptiles, or make videos that will also teach young people like Caleb's niece that having a cobra loose in your house is cool because you had a shit enclosure, or whatever else that they're going to watch and then kids do. Kurt gets something all the time because of my language, and he tells me all the time, my kids watch this. My kids watch this. I say, I know. I swear way too much. I don't give a shit. This is who I am. It's part of me. And you probably shouldn't let your kids watch me without supervision. That's why I tell people, you heard me say on the show how many times? You feel, oh my God, I swear like a sailor. You should probably not let them watch. And if you're going to worry that your kids, not just you, anybody, are going to see something and pick up a word like shit or damn because they heard it on YouTube or heard it on TV, don't you think you should be worried that your kids are going to see some jackass free-handling a cottonmouth they found in their yard and pick that shit up there too? Just a thought. Yeah. Just a thought.
Especially because you're looking at the generation that did like Tide Pod challenges.
Yeah, these are the Tide Pod challenges. These are, and I get it, man. If a kid picks up a swear word from me, mom may wash their mouth out with soap. If a kid picks up a copperhead from the front yard because they saw it on TV and gets bit, they lose their fucking hand. There's a difference there.
If they're allergic, they die.
Yeah, there's a difference there. There's a difference there.
There is.
Those two things are not the same, but it's the same concept. So that's the other thing. When you put those videos out, you are responsible for others behaving like you, right? You are that example. I don't care if kids cuss. I really don't. If your child says a bad word because they heard it from me, oh well, it's a word. It's in the dictionary. I mean, there's a lot of words I don't say that aren't even bad words because I don't like them. Caleb loves the word moist. It's his favorite word to say, moist. But that's I don't ever want to have a kid get bit by a venomous snake because they watched me free handle one on a YouTube video. This is asinine. We deserve our rights taken away for shit like that. I hope we don't have them taken away, but we're going to figure out a way to get our rights taken away because 4 or 5 people just have to be the center of attention. Yep. That's it. All right, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.